Welcome to the van here, Trophy Pools and Service. In this video, we're just going to talk about the chemicals that we use. There are tons of specialty chemicals out there, hundreds of brands, tons of options, sizes, shapes, whatever. We try to keep it simple, so let me just walk you through some of the basics, and then we'll kind of talk about what they do. So here we have our bicarb, sodium bicarbonate. It's going to be found right here on all of our vans. This thing fits 2 bags, 100 pounds, and we just scoop it out. This scoop right here is 1.5 pounds. So if we were to be scooping it out in a bucket, boom, we've got 1.5 pounds. If something calls for 9 pounds, then we're going to do 1, 2, that's 3 pounds. So we'll do 3 more of those. You get it. So that's our sodium bicarbonate, also known as baking soda. But customers don't want to pay for baking soda, even though that's what it is. So it's something we call it bicarb, sodium bicarbonate. This you just mix in a bucket. You're gonna mix. You just pour it straight into a bucket. When you get out to the pool, you'll mix it up with water and pour it in. You're gonna notice though that you can only mix about 15 to 18 pounds max in that bucket. Any more than that, just make 2 trips, cut it in 2. And you'll see all about that out on the route. Behind me, we have 2 buckets. And these can be on the floor, wherever you find them on your van. And we use 2 types of chlorine here at Trophy Pools and Service. We use calcium hypochlorite, which is shock, unstabilized chlorine. And we also use tabs, the 3-inch hockey puck looking tabs that you've seen. So here we have the Cal Hypo in granules. Once again, it's 1.5 pound scoop right there. Scoop it out, put it in a bucket. And here we have 3.5-inch tabs, or 3-inch tabs rather. Now listen to this. One thing we always do, always do, is we take the buckets of chlorine off of the van, and we do what we got to do. We say we need 3 pounds of Cal Hypo. We're going to get 2 scoops in a bucket. We always do it off of the van, because if these granules fall in the van, we're smelling chlorine. It's going to oxidize equipment. We always take it off the van. And also, just figure out which way the wind is blowing. You know, if I'm taking it off the van and I'm scooping it into a bucket and the wind is blowing this way, the little bit of dust that blows up is gonna just blow it right in the van. Nobody wants that. Also, if currently the wind is blowing this way, I don't want to sit here and be scooping this and breathing that dust in my face. So therefore, I'd scoop it this way and that dust just blows that way, and I never see it or touch it or smell it or whatever. So safety first. 3 points of contact when you're climbing into the van. 1, 2, 3. Moving on. Here we have salt for our salt pools only. They need salt. We use 40-pound bags. We cut the top and we pour it in, and you'll see all about that. We like to keep 4 bags on every van. Sometimes, you know, some pools need a bag at a time usually, and 4 is a pretty good number. Got a bucket and a stir stick. Here we have calcium chloride. Once again, we have the same little scoop. Put that into a bucket. Here we have DE for our DE filters. It's got its own scoop. DE is kind of a different weight, different measure. So a full scoop of this, pressed down, like smashed down, is 1 pound. So you can see after I smashed it, we can still use a little bit more. So make sure to smash it down, compact it, and get a full scoop. You don't want to breathe this in. We buy a special expensive kind that has moisture in it, so it doesn't just dust up. But just try not to breathe that in. You're probably not going to, but just try not to. It's not a hazardous chemical. It's just, it can get in your lungs and just kind of irritate your lungs. You don't want that. It's actually crushed up fossils. DE is literally fossils that are crushed up and ground into powder. That's what it is. And then here we have cyanuric acid granules. Same thing with the scoop, and you're gonna just, you know, 1.5 pounds. This is more than we're gonna talk about in this video, but you'll learn how to mix that with when you're on your route and what to do with it. We don't use this very often at all, but when we do, we need it and we have it. So, and then behind me, I have a case of acid. They come with 4 gallons of acid per. And we can be smart enough and we can pour this right into the pool. Never, ever, ever pour it into the skimmer. You think, oh, it'll mix up and do it. Never do that. It'll shoot all sorts of black stuff into the pool. It's terrible. Never do that. We always just pour it in front of a jet, or we'll walk it around the pool. You'll see all this, but just remember to also make sure to stay low with it. You're not gonna stand up here and pour it into the pool and it splashes 4 feet down and splashes all over the place. This stuff is made to eat concrete. It'll eat the pool decks. So we need to keep the splashing to a minimum and stretch it out over the pool as much as you can, and you'll learn all about that. Muriatic acid brings the pH down. That's all it's for, is bringing the pH down. We use bicarb, sodium bicarbonate, baking soda, to raise the pH up. You've already learned about that, but just a little refresher there. A few more chemicals that we stock and that we use all the time. This is one of them. It's called a Blu-ray XL. This is for our problem pools. You'll learn about this, but especially for those pools with black algae. It's really hard to beat black algae, and this is needed, and it really busts the black algae out. If we don't have black algae, if it's not turning green, we'll never use this because it's expensive. But if we've got black algae issues or just algae in general that we just can't seem to beat, we're going to use one of these. Just going to talk about the office fluid. A couple more things on your Riptide cart. Here's your standard cart. A gallon of acid can sit right there. We have a spray bottle of Mean Green. You know, we spray that across the top of the pool, makes it crystal clear, spreads the junk to the skimmers to help us out like that. Here we have Clarifier. What this does is it gets into the pool and it attracts the junk to it, like dirt, debris, stuff like that. It attracts it and clumps it into bigger clumps, and then when it goes through the filter, it gets caught up in the filter rather than blowing back through the filter. So we add Clarifier to every pool. Here we have oil and scum remover enzymes, basically. Sometimes we'll squirt this across the pool, sometimes we'll pour it in the skimmer, but every pool gets this too. It eats the scum away from the tile line, and it also just keeps the pool crystal clear and looking amazing, and it helps the chlorine to last longer because this will eat away some of the crap that chlorine has to fight. And then lastly, we have an algicide. We can keep the chlorine at a good level. We don't really need algicide too often, but for some pools, it's a problem pool. It just seems to grow algae. We can't keep enough chlorine in it. Things like that, we're gonna always add this Poly 60 algicide. And what it does is it goes and it attracts algae to it. And when it gets to that algae, it surrounds the algae and basically suffocates it. So it doesn't just kill it and it disappears and the pool is blue and clean. It starves the algae out. It just chokes it off to where it can't replicate, it can't eat, it can't breathe, and it just slowly dies off over time. This with chlorine, the chlorine will then get to that weak, frail little algae organism and then hit it, and it's gonna die a lot quicker by using this. So we use this with problem pools and especially on green to cleans and stuff like that. So all this you've seen by now, but that's just kind of a general overview of the chemicals that we use every day, all the time. You may run into something specialty if we have an issue somewhere, but that's that. So thanks for watching.